Hey guys, we're going to be talking about run-on sentences today. Today we reviewed how to correctly punctuate and combine independent clauses. And run-on sentences are basically just when you have two or more independent clauses that are not properly punctuated. So they're missing the semicolon or the comma fanboys, or they should just be made into separate sentences. But, they're when they're all squished together. All right, so let's look at a few examples. Ballet is exhausting work. You have to be in great shape to be a dancer. So we have two independent clauses here. Ballet is exhausting work. You have to be in great shape to be a dancer. But they're just combined with a comma, which is not a correct way to combine independent clauses. Let's look at our next one. It looks easy. It's really hard. Once again, we have two independent clauses. It looks easy and it's really hard. And there's no punctuation between them, which is not okay. Right? And our next one, it's beautiful, though ballet is my favorite activity. So I have this independent clause, it's beautiful. I have a random though. Then I have ballet is my favorite activity. All right, so we've got commas, but there's no fanboys or anything in there. So none of these are punctuated correctly. They're just all smushed together with random commas. Okay, so there are three ways you can correct a run-on sentence. Number one, you can take your independent clauses and you can stick a semicolon in between them, which is always pretty easy. So for example, that first one, I corrected it to ballet is exhausting work, semicolon, you have to be in great shape to be a dancer. So I added that semicolon so that they were joined together correctly. All right, now number two, we can also separate the two independent clauses with a comma and a fanboys conjunction. All right, so looking at our second example, it looks easy, comma, but it's really hard. So I have a comma fanboys there. All right, so that is a correct way to combine my independent clauses. All right, now independent clauses that are not very closely related, so the two clauses don't necessarily need to be together, they can just be separated into sentences, right? Independent clauses can stand alone as sentences. You don't need to squish them together if they don't need to be. So, it's beautiful though, period, ballet is my favorite activity. So here, I added a period, capitalized ballet, so now they're two separate simple sentences. Okay, now let's look down at our practice here. So we want to identify each of these as either a run-on sentence, which you can just write R, or as a complete sentence, which you can write S. So let's go ahead and do our first couple together. So our first one, studying leaves is fascinating, semicolon. There's so many different kinds. So I see independent clause, and I join them with a semicolon, which is what I want to do with independent clauses. So I'm going to put sentence here. This is a correct, complete sentence. Okay. All right, now let's look at number two. Leaves come in different shades of green. No two kinds seem to be the same. So I see two different independent clauses here. Leaves come in different shades of green, and no two kinds seem to be the same. But I had no punctuation in between them. They were just smushed together. So I'm going to put an R for run-on. All right, let's look at number three. A leaf shape is important. Experts can tell a lot about a tree from the shape of its leaves. So once again, two independent clauses. I have a leaf's shape is important with that subject, shape, verb is. And then experts, my subject, can tell us a lot about a tree from the shape of its leaves. So that's another independent clause. Once again, no punctuation, no nothing in between them. So that's another run-on. All right, now, what I want y'all to do, I want you to go ahead and do the rest of these on your own. Okay, so that is 3 through 8. There's a number 8 on the back. Okay, so take a second, mark 3 through 8 as either sentence or run-on, and then we'll come back together and check it in a few seconds. So get to work. All right. Hopefully we got a chance to do 3 through 8. Let's go ahead and check those. So for number 3, a leaf shape is important. Experts can tell a lot about a tree from the shape of its leaves. You should have said that that one was a run-on, okay? We do not have any punctuation in between our 2 independent clauses there. All right, number 4. Leaves that grow in low light are usually dark green leaves, while leaves that grow in bright light are lighter green. Now this one is tricky. I bet a lot of y'all said that was a run-on, but it's actually a sentence, and let's talk about why. So, leaves that grow in low light are usually dark green leaves. That's an independent clause, okay? I got my subject leaves, they're growing, okay? Now this next one is actually a dependent clause. While leaves that grow in bright light are lighter green, okay? So we didn't need punctuation there because you can always put a dependent on the end of an independent without any punctuation. So that one was actually okay. That one was a tricky one. All right, let's take number 5. Leaves from rainforest plants often have drip tips. These are pointed tips that help water run off the land. So I have my 2 independent clauses, and I got a semicolon between them. So this one is actually a sentence. That one looks great, exactly like it should. All right, let's look at number 6. Some leaves have complicated shapes. These shapes allow the wind to blow the leaf without tearing it. All right, I see 2 independent clauses. Some leaves have complicated shapes. These shapes allow the wind to blow the leaf without tearing it. And I have nothing in between. Okay, so that's a run-on sentence. We did not combine those independent clauses correctly. All right, let's look at number 7. Desert plants' leaves often have a waxy coating, and this helps them to conserve water. So I got 2 independent clauses. Desert plants' leaves have a waxy coating. This helps them to conserve water. And in between them, I got a comma fanboys, which is what I want. So that one is a sentence. All right, let's look at number 8. Hormones and the amount of daylight a plant receives can affect plant growth. Now this one is actually just a sentence, okay, because we just have a subject, hormones and the amount of daylight a plant receives. That's our subject. It's a big subject. And then we got a verb, can affect. So really it's just one independent clause, which we don't need to punctuate. So that's a fine sentence. All right, so what I want y'all to do now, I want you to choose 3 of the run-on sentences from that practice, okay? And I want you to rewrite them as correct, complete sentences below. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, rewrite those run-on sentences as complete, corrected sentences. That means you should probably be adding punctuation or separating them into independent, simple sentences. Okay? All right, we'll check that tomorrow, see how we're doing, do a little bit more practice with this together. So let me know if you have any questions.